So I just watched Raya and the Last Dragon and I was severely disappointed. By all means, it's not bad, but I guess being Filipino, when I heard that the very same studio behind Moana was making a movie that heavily drew inspiration from Southeast Asian culture, I guess I got carried away with the hype. A hype that I clearly made up myself because oh my god, Disney did a terrible job marketing this movie. But hey, think about this. Disney finally made a movie that represents Southeast Asians, so the least we could do now is to show our support by watching the film that's only available on Disney Plus. You know, the streaming platform Disney recently launched that's currently unavailable in Southeast Asia.
Oh, bro.
This is Raya and the Last Dragon. Though considered a financial flop, Raya and the Last Dragon was still loved by both critics and audiences, praised for both its action and visuals. Yeah, but is it really that good though? Well, we're here to find out. This is Raya and the Last Dragon. We start off in the land of ᵒᵦᵗ, where long ago the 5 nations lived together in harmony, but everything changed when the Drune attacked. Oh, shut up. You know damn well that joke was coming from a mile away, okay? Sit down.
The Drune came. A mindless plague that spread like wildfire, multiplying as they consumed life and turned everyone they touched into stone.
They also go by the name of ᵐᵒⁿᵗ.com. After almost turning all dragons into stone, one dragon, named Sisu, used up all her magic to defeat the Drune, turning everything back to normal but the dragons. Sisu then disappears, never to be heard from again, leaving behind only a gem of her powers. Fast forward 500 years later, we're introduced to our main character named Raya, breaking into a heavily booby-trapped temple.
This feels too easy.
Turns out, however, this was all training from her father, Chief Benja, the leader of their home nation, Heart.
You did good, Dewdrop. You passed the test.
So apparently Raya's family legacy is to protect the gem from the other nations and that it's their duty to guard it at all times. Which is kind of concerning considering the fact that it's only guarded by one man and an actual 12-year-old was able to break in and sneak her way into the heart of the temple. But hey! We're now shown that Chief Benja feels that the time's come for the very responsibility to be passed on to Raya.
Raya, Princess of Heart, my daughter. You are now a guardian of the Dragon Gem.
And you're dead. 100%. What? A father/mentor passing his legacy onto the main character in a Disney film? Tell me he doesn't die and kickstart Raya's adventure. And there he goes! Okay, technically he isn't dead, but it still counts. We're then introduced to the other lands of ᵒᵦᵗ. Tail, Talon, Spine, and Fang, named after parts of a dragon. Fun fact, they used to have a 6th nation called Dick, but by popular vote, they just decided to unify somewhere else instead.
Spine. A frigid bamboo forest, guarded by exceptionally large warriors and their giant axes.
And you made your 12-year-old daughter a guardian now because... Here we meet Namaari, the daughter of the chief of Fang, Varana. Both Raya and her hit it off and start becoming friends.
Rice or stew? I didn't think that'd stump you.
This is actually one of the first times I've had rice in a while.
Yeah, I hear you, girl. This keto diet is rough. The two wander off, though, which leads to the only next logical step for a guardian of the gem to do. Lead the daughter of your nation's biggest rival straight towards the gem you swore to protect. Surely nothing bad is gonna happen. And betrayed! Rookie mistake there, Raya. Southeast Asian rule number 1. Never show someone your dragon gem on the first date. Huh. Probably should have told Raya not to take strangers up the secret temple unsupervised. You know, for a protector, I kinda suck at protecting. Thanks to Namaari, the other nations find the room where the gem is and begin to fight for it.
You will not set foot on the Dragon Gem's inner circle.
I mean, says the man whose 12-year-old daughter beat him and set foot on the inner circle, but hey, swords! Anyway, during the fight, however, the gem ends up getting shattered into 5 different pieces. You suck! Releasing the drone. During the chaos, each land snatches a piece of the gem and begin to flee. Raya and her dad, however, try to get away, but all seemed hopeless until...
You're okay.
Raya, don't give up on them. I love you, ᵈᵒⁿ'ᵗ.
Bro, why didn't you just jump in with her? I mean, you had the space. And during that goodbye speech, you clearly had the time. Hell, you had a piece of the gem with you. The drone wasn't going to get... Fast forward 6 years later, and we see an older Raya in the middle of the desert. Here we find out that all these years she's been looking for Sisu, the last dragon. After a close call with the drone, she ends up in a little shipwreck where she finally finds and awakens the great and the mighty.
Thank you. I use aloe and river slime to maintain.
But we still have a big chunk of it.
Look how close my butt is to my head. It's compliments to the chef. Do you mean Captain Poppinlock over there? Have you ever done like a group project, but there's like that one kid who didn't pitch in as much, but still end up with the same?
Yeah, I guess you can pinpoint one of the biggest problems I have with the movie. Don't get me wrong, Awkwafina seems like a nice person. I'm sure she's a great comedian. But Sisu is just not it, man. Her lines aren't funny, her voice distracts me 90% of the time, and... yeah, I'm not a big fan of the design. I still don't know the motive behind it, but this isn't a dragon. This is a dragon. Not a dragon. Dragon. Not a dragon. Dragon. I don't know if they did this because they wanted to be unique or if they didn't want to be compared with any dragon design from DreamWorks, but it's still a bad design nonetheless. I mean, dragons aren't necessarily supposed to look scary or intimidating, but Sisu doesn't even remotely look like a dragon. Hell, Mushu from Mulan was only a foot long and they managed to make him look like a dragon. Why not Sisu? Sisu looks like a second-hand My Little Pony doll that got stretched out. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised that this design was chosen for the sole purpose for Disney to sell more toys. Hey, the Elsa merchandise were through the roof. Let's slap her face onto a dragon and see where that goes. Oh, don't tell me you don't see the resemblance. I've gone through this in Frozen 2, Disney. I am not going to go through that again. After finding Sisu, their next step is to retrieve all missing gem pieces and reassemble them to save the world once more. Trouble isn't far behind though, as we're introduced to the older Namaari hunting down our heroes.
Benja's daughter is as good as stone out here. Retrieving some useless dragon scroll isn't worth the risk.
Anyone else want to question why we're out here?
I tell there, Azula. Jeez! Remind me not to tell you that the tides won't allow us to port before nightfall. They miss them by just a hair though, and our heroes venture off to find the gem piece of Tail.
Oh, wait till you see my backstroke. I'm a wicked when I hit that liquid. I got water skills that kill. I slaughter when I hit the water. I'm like really good at swimming. Through rhyme. I was trying to make that I'm really good at I'm a good swimmer.
Namaari manages to track down Raya, however, and chases her onto a boat where she manages to escape. Here we meet Bone, one of the 3 other members of our ragtag team from each land. Bone from Tail, a baby from Thailand named Noi, and Tong from Spine. And here we basically spend most of the movie meeting them and finding each of the piece. And yeah, let's talk about them for a sec. Yeah, here's where you notice another problem with the movie. The side characters aren't really that interesting. I really didn't care for these characters at all, man. I get that they serve as plot devices for Raya to start trusting again, but it's kind of hard for them to serve their purpose when all situations of trusting someone present itself, they end up getting stabbed in the back anyways. Hell, the baby was trying to steal from you when you tried to help. It doesn't do it any justice either that the writers decide to keep hammering the fact that Raya has trust issues, inserting it to almost every dialogue possible. Some doesn't even make sense.
Wow, you really got some trust issues.
Look, my father blindly trusted people, and now he's stoned.
That was on you! What do you mean? He didn't bring a stranger into the Dragon Temple, you did! He just wanted to host a dinner party, god dang! It's just tough to root for a character being painfully forced to start trusting again when wouldn't it make much more sense if the movie was about Namaari trying to earn back Raya's trust instead? She was clearly in the wrong. Hell, the climax would have been more powerful if it was Namaari begging Raya to trust her again. Call me crazy, but I'd rather follow that storyline than...
That's not even edible!
After collecting the other pieces, the gang is now only missing one more piece. The group head into F.R.I.E.N.D.S and devise a plan to persuade Namaari to hand over their piece so that Sisu can reassemble them and save the world once more. But not before a little detour. You see, apparently the reason why Sisu was the only one left to defeat the ᵒᵒ was because the other dragons sacrificed themselves and handed over their magic to her because, say it with me, they trusted her. Oh my god, could you hammer it in more, please? I think the word trust hasn't been infused to my brain yet. Now get a load of this. Meanwhile, back at F.R.I.E.N.D.S, after finding out that Raya found the last dragon, Verana tells Namaari that they need to stop Raya from letting Sisu use the gem and save the world, so that F.R.I.E.N.D.S can instead let Sisu use the gem and save the world. What?
If we had the dragon and the gem pieces, we would be forgiven. We could save the world.
Namaari agrees to hand over the gem piece to Raya though, and the two meet up right outside the gates of F.R.I.E.N.D.S. The two share an intimate moment once again, and Namaari finally offers the piece to Raya and Sisu, finally realizing that the pride is not worth fighting any...
Sisu and the gem pieces are coming with me.
Huh. Who would have thought?
You just want a better world. Like we all do.
Sisu.
I trust you, Namaari.
Okay, couple of questions. One, if you needed Sisu alive, why did you point the armed crossbow right at her? Second, Raya and F.R.I.E.N.D.S have the same goal, to give the gem to Sisu and stop the ᵒᵒ. So why didn't you just tell Raya about your mom's plan? And third, just because you fixed the thing you broke in the first place doesn't give you an easy out. F.R.I.E.N.D.S will still be known as the nation that released the ᵒᵒ. So not only is your mom's plan so convoluted, it also doesn't make any sense. All this could have been avoided if you just talked about the situation. You've literally endangered everyone. Again. Anyways, after Sisu bites the dust, all bodies of water start to disappear, no longer repelling the ᵒᵒ. Outraged over Sisu's death, Raya goes after Namaari while the rest of the crew try to evacuate the city. To where there's no water to save. After, for what I admit to be a really good fight scene, Raya bests Namaari in a fight and tries to deliver the final blow.
I never meant for any of this to happen. Liar! I don't care if you believe me. Sisu did. But you didn't trust her. That's why we're here. Do whatever you want. But you're as much to blame for Sisu's death as I am.
Excuse me. Just a second. What? Are you high? You were the one pointing that crossbow around, and Raya only did what she did because you were the one who gave her trust issues in the first place. You shot that flare that led the other nation into the Dragon Temple. You're the reason why the ᵒᵒ is out again. You're the reason why Raya's dad is stoned. And now you're the reason why Sisu's dead, and you're the reason why the water's gone. This is literally all on you, Namaari. Raya sees that she has a point though, and they work together to help the gang save the citizens from turning into stone. They get trapped underground, however, and the dunes seem too much until...
All I know is I trusted them, and they trusted me. And so...
Everyone give me your gems! We can still put it together, it can still work! But we have to come together. Please.
After what she's done?
We'll never trust her.
Yeah, I'm with him on this one, to be honest. Apart from the releasing the June thing and killing the last dragon, she does have 2 A's back to back in her name, and that alone is a red flag.
Then let me take the first step.
Raya convinces the rest, however, and they all end up trusting Namaari and give her the pieces of the gem. And surprise, surprise, she gets it to work, and like Sisu before, she ends up everyone transforms back to their normal selves, dragons return, the water's back, Sisu isn't actually dead, Raya reunites with her lad, ᵒᵦᵗ is whole once again, and everything wraps up pretty nicely.
Ba? Welcome to ᵒᵦᵗ.
And finally, we then get a shot of Sisu and the other dragons running across the sky. Hey, so like, we can just revive dead dragons now? We could do that?
It's a Disney thing. Kids don't buy toys of dead characters. Look it up.
Oh, Raya! And that was Raya and the Last Dragon. Where did we go wrong? The story felt rushed, the jokes weren't funny, and the characters, though not awful, weren't that interesting for me to care. Maybe if the story just focused on Raya and Namaari's relationship, then both characters could have been fleshed out better and the payoff would have felt more earned. The movie has its moments, the animation is great, the fight scenes are cool, and ᵒᵦᵗ as a concept is pretty interesting. But that's about it. Like I said, it's not bad. I just expected it to be better. It's not Disney's worst, but it's certainly not Disney's best either. And that's why I'm giving this a 6 out of 10. I'm going to bed now. Bye!